We have been sent.
She's muted.
Well,
Well, we're live on Twitch.
hello everyone. Sorry about that little technical difficulty. It was all on my end. Rachel didn't do anything wrong. Just my music bots decided to be ridiculous for a moment. Either way, we figured it out. And yeah, we'll jump into it. If we want to do recaps, let's start it. Well, let me just back it up here really quick. I almost forgot to mention. Sorry, I'm in a frazzle. Holy crap! I'm kind of all over the place today. But that's okay. This is a Vampire the Masquerade podcast. Vampire the Masquerade takes place in a setting known as World of Darkness, which is a naturally dark setting. So if the following subject matter disturbs you or you find it troublesome, then look out for yourself and catch you next time. Or if you want to find something more lively to watch, that's totally fine. No fault here or no problems here. The following content will include violence, gore, abuse, kidnapping, mind control, Machiavellianism, mutilation, removal of personal agency, drug use, homophobia, sexism, and other things that are otherwise unpalatable to many people. Remember to hold the actions, as many storytellers say, hold the actions of our vampires to our vampires and not to our players. Vampire the Masquerade is a personal horror story about watching you become the very monster that you fear to become. So, with all of that out of the way, we are 3 away from our goal of 100 followers on Twitch. Check us out on YouTube. Our YouTube should be up to date. If you want to get caught up on the season, whenever we don't have a VOD available, there's usually a YouTube episode of it. So if you want to get caught up and support us on YouTube, which we're trying to kind of build up right now, please feel free to do that. If not, well, we're just happy to have you. With all of that actually out of the way, we'll get into recaps. Does anyone want to get us started? Actually, I'm going to volunteer someone. I'm going to volunteer Anar.
Yeah, so Anar Navi, Clan Malkavian, and last time we found Anar in the basement of his parlor in the room with one of his drifters after he had fed. He was sitting there holding hands, contemplating sort of everything that he's experienced with this new group of kindred. And he had sort of a vision of a woman looking over an ocean or a cliff. And as he was thinking of that, there was a knock on the parlor door. And so without his sight, he made his way up and opened the door. And it was a woman named Holly who wasn't really sure why she was there, but was looking for answers. And she had experienced all manner of strange things. Her boyfriend didn't seem to be who he was. He had dead eyes and he didn't know her, and other people didn't seem to know who she was anymore. She felt as if she was being watched. And so with all this talk of these different sensations and visions, Anar thought that he might be able to spark something more out of her. And so he was able to feed her a little bit of his blood, thinking it might enrich her visions or these sensations that she was having. And there was a little bit more dialogue between them, but as she got up to leave the parlor, Anar attempted to have a premonition on her and saw this series of images of fractured glass. And again, the woman standing over the sea, and it descended into a blue room with corpses with spouts sticking out of their necks. And then a spider weaving a web and a woman caught in this web, sort of culminating in this spider ripping this woman apart and it being put back together over and over and over. And then a moment where he's at the mirror again and appears to be looking at Crimson Rose, and then it flashes to this woman he saw in his vision. And then as the premonition ends and this woman, Holly, is leaving the parlor, like Anar had called out to her that he might know someone through her named Rose, and she responded in a voice that was apparently not her own. That the rose only rots, and then slammed the door and left the parlor. So that was where we left Anar at the end of last session.
Alrighty then. Tony, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I can go next. Just get my voice right real quick.
Because a lot happened with you last session.
Yeah. So, Antonio Moreno, people call me Tony. Last time I woke up, I was strapped to a bed with ratchet straps in a basement, something like. And with a voice of Hudson booming in my head, I'm too hungry for my own good. This voice suddenly turns into Sunshine, Mr. Sunshine, and turns out this kid's my grandson. They call him Anthony. His friends in the service call him Tony. Something ironic. But after seeing his eyes, after knowing that this kid was my blood, yeah, I teared up a little bit, realizing that Angelo, my son, had made it. But also, I was terrified to realize that my family's still out here doing this, getting involved in this. Then Simon came through afterwards and let me out, and said a few words to Tony, let him know that, like, if he could just go out, live an honest life, start a family, something like that. But his head's too caught up in revenge, and I see it in his eyes. I knew exactly what that was. There's no way for me to really stop him. But anyways, that's besides the point. We get out, get back to my bar, meet up with Colton, who just came along, and I hand the keys over to Isaiah. I think he deserves that much, and also because with the way things are going, I don't feel like I'll be around to enjoy Fortuna getting to its rightful place, like how Paradis did. But anyways, I look around looking for a tasty snack because I am quite hungry, and it's not that good. It's not good right now. I'm in some trouble. We'll just put it that way. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, that's all I got.
Indeed, we will. Colton, what should go next?
Colton Sticks, Clan Hakata. Last time I was rudely awakened by an intruder, someone asking, sort of screaming into the void a little bit, till I took their tongue, and it was a good start to the evening. After which I went and visited Tony, and I'm looking forward to seeing him operate in his natural habitat.
Okay. Very well then. We'll go with Simon next.
Simon Granloof and Gangrel. Last time, well, like Tony said, we were in some place underground. I was beating on the door until I decided to just fine, I'll wait, see what happens. As soon as I sat my ass down, doors open. I unratchet trapped Tony, and we talked. He apparently wants to go to some cathedrals and make his peace. And he discovered he has a grandson. Apparently, that kid is also being targeted by the same vampire targeting us. Allie. After that, we decided to go on to Tony's Fortuna. We ran to Colton, and we were compared. Both me and Colton were compared to pop culture icons. Now we're waiting at our seat to see what happens. I'm getting hungry myself, so I take a step outside. That's enough for me.
Gotcha. We'll go to Crimson next.
Crimson Rose, Clan Toreador. Where I had last left off, I was done getting scolded by Tim. Then I went and had a brief chat with Hugh, who told me maybe I shouldn't be such a bitch to him. He is only trying to help. After realizing that, I went back up to Tim to ask about the job a bit more, to get some of the nitty-gritty details. He gave me all that he could. Went back down, talked to Hugh again briefly, but he had a phone call to take, so I decided I should probably clean up a bit before I go on this business venture. And after that, I did some thinking and looked at myself in the mirror and didn't like what I was seeing.
You may have cut off there.
What did I say last?
That you didn't like what you were seeing.
Yeah. And vowed that I wouldn't turn into what Damien is. Even though he made me what I am, I will not turn into what he is.
Very well then. Last but not least, Hugh.
Last time on our little group, I was in Crimson's basement looking at what gun she had left over and making sure to get most of the C4 off of my person. She comes down, like she said. I was like, hey, Tim's just being a handler, doing his best. She agreed. Told me she had a job to go do. When I talked to Tim about it, and when she came back down, we had a little chat, and I pointed out to her she wasn't exactly a fresh spring rose. So while she was in the shower, I had that important phone call. And my sire agreed that I had gathered enough information and has recalled me back to Rome. But thankfully, he is as well a ladies' man and agreed to let me do one last job. So I'll be helping Crimson out with this and letting her know I'm about to leave. That's all I got.
We open scene in Fortuna. Our perspective lingers over Tony's shoulders. As he's looking around the room, the colors kind of fade to grays. The colors that would normally signify warmth, comfort, and lavishness kind of fade into the background. Isaiah behind the bar. You normally don't like feeding on men, but you could hear his heartbeat. You can feel the blood pumping through his system. What would be wrong with the taste? And the door opens once more, and you'd see a group of sorority girls and some college dudes walking in, looking like they're having a good time at a swanky place. Their suits and dresses tarnished over the night's festivities, but still passes the dress code enough to let themselves in. They seem like they're having a wonderful time. The best night of their life, maybe even. Lavishly, they take in the place and realizing the old speakeasy culture of Chicago, just kind of marinating in the atmosphere and the piano in the distance over the speakers that are spread about through Fortuna. Perspective lingers on them more and more as Tony sees them. Now, Tony, you are a part of Clan La Sombra. You didn't fail at a roll, which is your normal clan bane, is that if you best, you'll fail the roll. You take a -2 dice penalty until forcing you to become more and more ruthless to get the job done. But now, I'm not sure if that exactly fits here. For you were only looking around the room. But hunger 5. You can't get much hungrier. You feel frenzy. You feel hunger. You've never wanted something so much in your entire life other than to sink your teeth into them. You don't care who sees. You're on the verge of madness because how much it drives you. Think of a man in the desert oasis, not with no drop of water in sight. Suddenly to see a lake before them. Why would they not jump in and drink as much as they can? The wanting spreads more and more. You can feel your teeth on edge. On that note, we'll walk through that in a moment. But Tony, what's going through your head? We'll get to everyone else in the room at the moment. But as all this is happening, as you're thinking about all of this, as you feel that your beast physically almost manifest before you and start to puppet you, what is Tony thinking about?
So, because this place is so close to Tony, because there's so many people here that are close, near and dear to his heart, even if he's not willing to admit it, he refuses to be reckless. He refuses to be unbecoming, and so much more. Like, this is outside of his character, but almost that he'd be willing, wanting, narratively speaking, to spend even 1 or even 2 willpower to fight himself with the aid of the people, with the aid of Simon and Colton around him, for that to happen.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about you roll me a wits composure.
Okay. Wits composure.
Wits composure to essentially because this is like you're the last safe place that you have.
Yeah.
If you fail this roll,
Yeah.
you will have to trust the friends around you, your
Mhm.
fellow coterie members, to handle you,
Mm.
to deal with you, to try to restrain you.
Mm. Whew.
Okay. So 2 successes. I'm gonna go as far to say that you pass the roll. I'll give you that.
Mhm.
Being that this place is so close to you and you do have a lot of connections here. But you are about to lose it. And it's obvious to everyone around you. What does that look like as you are basically fighting off, just pretty much going feral vampire? What does this look like from Tony?
So the veins, like the dark veins, are like popping out around my skin on my face. The beautiful attribute isn't hiding this at all anymore. Like, this is like the worst, probably worst hungry Tony's ever looked. His teeth are jutting out, almost like yeah, just that.
All right.
And,
Well,
and
go
then
on.
I guess on top of that, I mean, I have an action to communicate next, but that's about as much as I have. Like, he's clenching his fist as hard as he can.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Simon and Colton. It's you would see like maybe Tony scanning the room, looking around. Then you'd see the group of college kids walking in. And I imagine that you're looking from Tony to them to Tony, like back and forth, realizing that what's about to happen and what Tony is trying not to allow. And as you see Tony's mouth open and exposing his fangs, with a single success, it seems like one of the college kids notices. Starts pointing it out to his friends. Starts pointing it out to people around him. Knowing this could be a very severe masquerade breach. The onus is on the two of you. Will you leave Tony to his fate or help him out?
Okay. So, question:
Answer.
Who's pointing this out? Like, who's actually here's pointing it out?
Yeah, so he's a male, short brown hair. It seems that he's very athletic looking. It seems that he seems very well built. You can't quite tell his eyes, but the color of his eyes. He has a very sturdy jawline. He is wearing a cheap tuxedo that definitely is rented, with Converse that definitely has a bit too much pre-workout spilt on the canvas of these shoes.
That's the case.
Yeah, and he starts
touch.
like nudging others and
Hey,
bringing
hang on a second.
attention.
I thought I was in a private booth. How are they looking at me?
Oh, you were in a private booth. I thought you were like in the corner.
No.
Okay,
He wasn't a private.
nix that. Excuse me. My apologies. But yeah, they're kind of you would be able to see them. I'm imagining there's like a little screen that like that you can kind of see out of. So yeah, they don't see you. Excuse me.
I was simply touch Tony on his shoulder and say, "Just set together. Don't want to make this place bloody."
So as soon as he does that, like I'll push him over and like sit in the chair, and like I'll stuff my tie into my mouth, and then I'll point to Colton and like point him like you like and then like yeah, just wait until Colton climbs over to the seat. Does he?
With a bit of a bemused smile, he does.
And then the next thing I imagine happening, as soon as Colton lands in the seat, I just swing my arms like onto both of them, and then press my face on the table until I chill the fuck out.
Okay. So normally, as you try to force yourself to regain your calm, and normally you can force the beast back into its corner. You're at hunger 5. Once you feel like it's almost like trying to pick up spilt milk. It's almost impossible to try to gather up that and put it back into its vessel. You feel your ruthless nature burbling out, and you're trying to fight it, and you're able to keep it to a temper, but you know that there's not much you can do to put it back. Until you feed, you're gonna have some problems.
Okay, I have an idea. You own this place, right, Tony?
I'll look at him with my eyes to say yes, while I'm still like
So you have,
still stuff in my mouth.
so you have some leverage here. I would imagine these college students would enjoy meeting a owner of such an establishment. However, in your current state, too many of them, this can end badly. So, pick one, and I will try to convince them to come up here.
Am I calm enough to speak? Question for
Yeah,
Storyteller.
depends on what you mean by calm.
To form sentences without jumping off the balcony and running amok in my place.
Yeah, you're able to speak, but you could definitely feel the edge in it, like you're on that edge. Like
Okay.
one wrong move, you know you're gonna fucking lose it. And fuck anyone else in your way.
Yeah. So, let me just draw the scene. So right now we're both in the VIP area. Typical, bouncer in front of the little rail with a
Yeah.
little clip thing.
I'm imagining there's also like one of those confessional meshes almost, like with a sliding door.
Yeah. So right now, in that moment, while I have my face to the table, I spit out the tie, and through gritted teeth, I say, Simon. 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 Pass this message to context for the audience. There are 3 bouncers in this bar. They're Jesse, Giorgio, and Gerardo. So,
You're gonna have to say that last one more time really quickly.
Gerardo, it's spelled with a G, Gerrado.
Okay. And the second one more time. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I get this right.
Giorgio.
Okay. Okay.
So Jesse watches the front, Giorgio watches the VIP,
Mhm.
and Gerardo watches the door at the office. And of course, if there's any trouble nearby them, they step in.
Yep.
So I tell Simon, Simon, you know my taste. Pass the message to Giorgio. Let him know that one of them's that they get to drink for free up here.
Which was the one in front of the VIP, correct?
Yeah.
All right, then I would walk down to him.
Yeah. Gerardo? What was the second one's name again? Excuse me?
Second was Giorgio.
Giorgio, excuse me.
But
He's the one that's the one outside of the VIP.
Yeah.
That's Giorgio. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Giorgio, he's kind of just standing arms crossed, kind of watching the bar kind of stoically. And I imagine, how do you get his attention?
I would there's a slide door, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I would do the little slide open door and just say Giorgio.
He leans down, listening.
Tony, he's gonna offer free drinks to the dark-haired one. When he walked in the bar up here.
And with that, he nods and starts moving over, and you see that there's a conversation that begins to entail. In the meantime, what are you thinking about Colton?
Colton is slightly disappointed that he wasn't able to see Tony do his thing naturally, but this is still some kind of show. Being out in a woods, he hasn't seen too many failures, but this is still somewhat interesting to watch. I suppose he'll keep his eyes peeled a little bit on the crowd, see if anyone's paying too much attention to this booth.
Yeah, roll me a wits awareness. And on that note, as well, I'll wait until I get this roll first. Did you hear me, Colton? Oh, there it is.
Yeah, it glitched out. I had to refresh it.
That's okay. With 4 successes, you kind of glance about. You do see that there are definitely some individuals taking note that the private booth is occupied. Maybe there's now, maybe since this conversation started and since you guys have gotten your way in, there's about 15 people total in the bar at this point. Some people have moseyed in since you guys sat down. The crowd, though, there's like a few people who kind of maybe are envious that the private booth is occupied. Maybe they even had reservations for it, and since Tony's arrival, since they have arrived for their reservation, they seem a little perturbed. They didn't get quite what they wanted, but they still seem content enough to drink at the establishment. As your vision kind of moves around again, you kind of see that there's you watch as I almost said Giorno.
Oh no,
Giorgio. Yeah. Giorgio, excuse me. Sorry. Giorgio. Anyway, so Giorgio, he approaches, and you see there seems to be a little bit of a mild dispute. He doesn't want to go anywhere without his lady friend. He said that he'll love to drink with the owner, but he wants to bring his friends with him. And you would be able to overhear this, Colton, as eventually Giorgio begins to return back to the booth. And sir, he's insistent that his friends come with him.
Well, actually, prior to Giorgio coming over to me, I'd probably be clasping my hands tight really, really quickly and just trying to hide away the veins of my face. And as soon as that's able to happen, I slick my hair back with my eyes still a little bit crazy, trying to hide my fangs and saying, well, what do you gentlemen think? How many friends is this, Giorgio?
There's 4 of them.
Private booth. It contain anything that happens, but we don't want to get bloody. Also, you can't feed too deeply, or things might happen.
Yeah, those words mean nothing to you, Tony. There's no such thing as feeding too deeply at this point. Anything will do.
Sure. Let him through. It's been a while since I've had some conversation.
And with that, Giorgio goes over, and I imagine that Colton and Simon make room as you can see the bouncer begin to approach with heavy footsteps. But on that note, we're going to switch perspectives briefly to Anar. Anar, with the door slamming, that echo seems to linger. That Holly, you can still smell her perfume in the air. You can hear the clicking of boots or shoes as you can hear her move away. You can almost even, with your heightened sense, your augmented senses of sound, hearing, you'd be able to hear the rustling of her dress. She walks away into the night. You can hear the soft rain slowly drown out those footsteps. What's Anar doing?
He'd be trying to connect the dots of what he had in his premonition and what he sensed from this woman, Holly. And if anything, like, he's going to try and make his way to the door.
Mm-hmm.
And like open the door, stick his head out, and then he's gonna try and scry the soul, and do a crowd scan.
Whoa.
And like he can't see anything that's on the street, but like this woman, Holly, like seemed unusual. So, from this, there's a list of things, and so basically, like, I guess the biggest thing is he's looking for like this influence of blood sorcery or magic or something like that, and to like scan and see if he can catch anything.
Sure. Let me quick do a thing. There it is. Oh. 1 second. You said scry the soul?
Yep.
I should be control effing this, but I am not in the mood. Does it have you roll any rolls for that?
So for me, it's intelligence plus auspex.
Yeah.
And then for the crowd, you kind of come up with your own sort of difficulty check, So
Sure.
it gives the example, if I'm looking for the only vampire in a room, that might be difficulty 3, whereas like
Sure.
the most nervous person in a big crowd would be like 6.
Sure. Roll me that that check here really quick.
Yep. So I'll do the rouse check first.
Yeah.
So I get some hunger.
What hunger are you at now?
3.
Okay.
And then I am intelligence, suspect. Okay.
There we go. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Okay. Do you wish to burn any willpower? You can roll up to 2 of those failed dice.
Yeah, I'll do that. Here's 2 more.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe kind of like what you reminisce or what you're able to sense from her soul as you look around a crowd. But specifically Holly first, as you see her walking away into the night, or you feel her. You like almost reach out with your preternatural senses. I keep on forgetting you don't have eyes. It's hard to engage that visual sense. I have to remember that. But as you reach out with your preternatural senses, you feel that it's almost like you see a series of cracks being held together by something. by someone else's will, perhaps. And as you glean out into the crowd, you feel there is someone, something watching. If you had eyes, you might be able to tell. But the scent of diablerie hangs foul in the air. There's another kindred who definitely is nearby and would be in your eyesight as you're with your eyeless gesture and senses into this crowd. There's somewhere, it's like you see like if you ever try to look at fish from under like a really murky pond, it's like seeing that. You can see movement. You can't identify any particular shimmers or anything specific. But you do know that there is a kindred here who is definitely using some sort of discipline. Whether or not it's been active now or another time remains to be seen. But you can tell that Holly is definitely a ghoul.
Okay.
But I don't think you are able to identify if she is your ghoul or if she is someone else's, being that you drugged her tea with your blood.
Yep.
So it's hard to tell if she belongs to you or someone else.
Gotcha.
But there is definitely a kindred that has sway over her. And with 2 successes, that's what I'm comfortable with telling you.
Okay. With that, I'll kind of like slink back into the parlor and let the door close and attempt to go sit down at the table again. And I'm going to pull out my phone, and I'm blind, but I'm going to like attempt to remember like the sequence to speed dial someone.
Okay.
And honestly, he's just going to try and dial anyone. Like, I imagine Sven would be 1 in the speed dial, and then after that, it would be a random, like, other numbers of kindred in the coterie. So, like, he'll attempt to speed dial Sven, but see what happens.
Sure, roll me a d10. Okay. As Crimson, you are our perspective is going to switch over to you. I imagine your belongings are piled up in the corner as you finish up in the shower in this concrete. Because I imagine that your shower is very bare. It's like almost one of those industrial, almost more so a chemical shower than it is. It's just something that you can rinse off fairly reliably, and maybe you have some perfumes and some fancy scented shampoos to cover up the otherwise stench of the night. But as you're staring at your reflection in the glass, you feel, as you watch your reflection, watch you and like 1,000 different variants of yourself spiderwebbing before you, you start to feel that maybe you're not entirely alone. And suddenly, like pulling you away from these thoughts, maybe startling you even, you'd hear the phone ring. I'm not sure if it'd be on vibrate, but from the pile of your previous clothes of the night prior, either it vibrate or it would ring out. I'm not sure.
I'd imagine she wouldn't have it on silent after that entire altercation with Tim, so she'd just rifle through it, like trying to get to it as fast as possible. Not even looking at it before she flicks it open. Hello?
Crimson?
Anar? Are you
Yes.
alright? Did you make it to your parlor safe?
I'm at the parlor. I don't know if I'm all right. Sven is out right now, and I had a visitor. It was an interesting encounter, but I just, well, I was outside, and I'm
How
fairly
did you
certain
get outside? That
it's
doesn't matter.
it's complicated. But the thing is anyone from the coterie at the parlor?
No, I'm here with Hugh. I don't know where everyone else is.
Because I'm fairly certain there is a kindred who is watching me right now. I need some help.
If I can't make it, I'll send someone.
I'll be here. You may not be able to see me, so call out.
Of course.
The front door is open. Be careful.
You too.
And as
With that-
the oh,
Oh, and I say, as he like hangs up the phone, he'll be sitting there at the table, and he's gonna do Cloak of Shadows and become invisible.
sure, perfect. And as the phone disconnects, the line disconnects, Crimson.
Well, I can imagine her hair is still sopping wet. She's in a towel, but she burst out of the bathroom, frantically looking towards Hugh to see if he's still there.
I
imagine
would
you
still
would
be here, yes.
Apparently, there's a kindred following Anar. I'm not sure. He seems like he needs help. He needs help.
Are we going to this party or are we helping Anar?
Now, Crimson, you know that the party is tomorrow night.
We are helping him. I have time. She'd run to her like bedroom closet thing and throw on just like black clothes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look down at myself and just be disgusted in the realization that I'm not gonna get a shower tonight. Just absolutely just vile.
She'd get dressed, have her phone on her, grab her gun.
Which gun, might I add?
The one Simon gave her.
Now, I need to ask, how are you concealing it? And what is your garments? Because this is how I determine the difficulty is if someone's looking at you of like whether or not you're carrying or not.
Well, I can imagine she hasn't gotten any holsters yet, so she'd put it in the waistband of her pants and she'd have like flowy clothes on, so.
Okay. I won't make you roll for it, but actually I am gonna make you roll for it, being that you don't have any particular holsters for it. Roll me a dexterity stealth.
Tim didn't give us any holsters, did he?
Well,
No, and I don't think Crimson has.
she's
gotten
using it.
one.
She's using a gun that Tim did not give her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too.
Well, that, and I can imagine, like, with all the chaos, she hasn't had time to get a hold of a holster.
She hasn't really asked him either.
Yeah.
So with one
Or
success,
anyone else.
yeah, you're able to stuff it in your waistband.
Got it.
Now, mind you, there are other smaller guns that might be easier in the basement.
I suppose, not knowing what she'd get herself into, she'd rifle through the supplies that Tim had sent to see if there was anything else she could get her hands on.
Yeah, there's a definitely smaller than a Desert Eagle, but there's a Glock 17. You'd be able to.
She'd take that too, but she would want the eagle with her.
So you
as well.
take two. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna have my 38 and I'll say like a quarter pound of C4 left on me.
What
You
kind of
told
Glock
me
was
that
it? You
you-
said.
17.
I said I got rid of most of it,
Okay, that's
not
fair.
all of it.
So as you do, you guys go upstairs, and as you guys are heading out, you see Tim looking through a notebook.
I would have stopped by Tim anyway.
Yeah, and you see he looks up, heading out.
My phone's on me.
Where are you going? Flips through up another page.
Would I know the whole vibe of Anar's 'Cause I don't think I've been to his
No,
joint. But
you would have no idea.
he's described what he has done, correct? Like what the gist of what he does?
A little bit.
Going to help a friend.
I'm gonna need more details than that.
We're gonna go see Anar.
What's going on with Anar? See, he starts jotting down information.
He's worried a kindred might be watching him.
He looks up at you, and that's your problem?
The man is blind.
Do you remember our talk?
Hard to forget it.
If I were you, I would leverage something in return for your assistance.
He is a Malkavian with visions.
Yeah. I guess I'm going with you. He takes a long breath. Now, just know, I'm only doing this because I want to make sure of your survival. Nothing else, nothing more.
I got that. It was gonna be a quick in and out anyway if nothing was up.
Nothing ever is a quick in and out. You see,
I'm gonna
Tim,
look. Oh, sorry.
Go, you go.
I'm gonna look at Tim. I'm gonna look at Rose, and then I'm gonna look back at Tim after he said that, and I'm gonna go, "That's what she said."
Tim ignores your statement entirely, but maybe you see the slightest crack of a smile.
Crimson would normally laugh, but given the circumstances, she would just turn around and walk away.
Where are you walking away to?
Towards to leave.
Okay. Tim gets it. He arms up. You're not quite sure what he has exactly.
Tim, you wouldn't happen to know where I could get a holster, would you?
For what?
I'd pull out my guns.
You see, he looks at the Desert Eagle with raised eyebrows, really?
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 We're gonna have to get you a shoulder holster for that, and an inside the waistband for that.
Right. I'm guessing we don't have time for that right now.
Does it look like I have time for that right now?
Without saying anything else, she'd shove them back in her pants.
Just letting you know, you look ridiculous. Because it's so when I say that it's obvious, I mean it's really obvious that she's carrying a Desert Eagle. It's like she's a very small girl.
Yeah.
Right. She's maybe 100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
I want to say 120,
5'5".
Yeah, just
small.
with a fucking huge ass gun that's almost probably the size of her forearm.
Like I said, she's adjusting her clothes the best she can.
It's not looking good. Tim just annoyingly he kind of regards it as kind of like just amateurs kind of expression, and he gets into his car and piles all of you in. And as you guys drive, is there any conversation that's to be had before we switch perspectives?
I'm gonna take a deep sigh.
How'd your phone call go, you?
Yeah. Crimson. I hate to tell you this, but I'm going back to Rome.
You're from Rome?
Well, that's where I'm currently staying. But I'm going back.
For how long?
I don't know, but I've gathered enough information on the activities going on around here. And also, in addition to that, if I see Simon again, I'm gonna shoot him.
Tim kind of looking in the rearview mirror when he says collecting information, he quirks an eyebrow. Information about what?
Well, just generally about how much of a mess Chicago is.
That's kind of a deception. It's kind of the truth, but I'm gonna say it's enough of a deception that you have to roll for it.
Okay, what do you want?
Manipulation subterfuge.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, hold on.
Oh no.
I don't like that. Oh no.
One.
Oh no.
Well,
It's really hoping for composure, not manipulation.
Tim kind of. You'd hear sharp inhale. Yeah? General state
Yeah.
of Chicago, huh?
I'm gonna get a big toothy grin on my face. Yeah, you know. But yeah, Crimson, if I see Simon again, I'm just gonna shoot him.
And at the mention of Simon, we cut over to our other perspective from the other half of our coterie. As you can hear the footsteps, Tony and Colton and Simon, you can hear the footsteps drawing closer and closer. Tony, it feels like an eternity before they step in. You've lived 100 years, but this is the longest moment of your whole existence.
And in that eternity, I'm taking off this tie that I've chewed up, and I'm unbuttoning the top button, putting that tie, rolling it up in my pocket, fixing myself up, the champagne on ice, sitting in a bucket,
Yeah.
glasses all around as I'm just sitting and waiting, focusing on my thoughts, making sure that I'm still beautiful.
Roll me a wits composure just to see how well you compose yourself.
Very
You
well.
better hope you don't fucking bestial fail this one.
Oh, that'd be a
Chief.
great time to be bestial failure. Jeez.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Now they all have a seat. Yeah, let's fucking party, guys. Goddamn. We're living the high life. And all of a sudden then you see the more quiet, withdrawn one, kind of like with them. So let me describe them. So let me just really quick do a thing. So there's 5 of them. 2 of which are female, 3 of which are male. The one that you saw earlier that was kind of watching the booth, he's like jacked, obviously some sort of collegiate sport type of dude. Could be rugby, could be wrestling, something along those lines. Definitely the 2 girls, the 2 females with them, they're very like stereotypically popular sorority girls, kind of like, oh my god, Becky, holy shit. And you see that the 2 girls are accompanying 2 of the dudes, the quiet jock guy, and then the other one looks like a little less put together. Actually, I'll have all of you, Simon, Tony, and Colton, roll me wits awarenesses to see what you glean from the appearance of these individuals. Make it a little bit engaging for everyone.
Wouldn't it be more wits of insight?
I will also take wits insight. Depending on what you're trying to glean.
I mean, yeah, those are the same numbers for wits awareness and wits insight for myself.
Which one would you be using? You rolled pretty high.
Yeah, I'll go with insight.
Perfect.
Wait, yeah. This is a 4, so I'll use my hunger dice, I guess.
Okay. Okay, so that's 2 successes. And then now we just on Colton. God damn. Is that insight or awareness?
That's insight.
Okay. So
Insight for me too.
insight seems to be the name of the game. So you would see the 2 sorority girls are pretty oblivious, they're pretty wasted. The 2 of the males, the one that's single, a little bit more of a definitely a heavy lifter type. They all seem to be athletes of some kind. The one that seems to be single is kind of like your traditional bodybuilder, a lot bulkier, a little rounder. He seems like fairly, but you see, he seems to be very careful on. Since Colton and Tony, you guys rolled super high, you 2 would notice that he is very careful not to break anything. He seems very, very. He doesn't do anything unless he has intention. He's the one that's single. He seems to be very careful, very mindful of his size, very soft-spoken almost, very silent as he approaches. The third male is very, or the second male, he is very lithe, very, very wiry build. He seems to be also an athlete, as to which maybe fencing, maybe some kind of like speed, maybe a tennis player of some sort, and or maybe even martial arts. It's hard to tell. And then there's obviously the kind of like in the middle between the 2 of them, generally the more balanced physique. It's the one with the Converse and the pre-workout powder on his Converse. And with the 2 females, one of them has red hair, gorgeous brown eyes, looks very, very soft. It looks like she very much seems to be very compassionate, very caring, very soft-spoken. And the other one is significantly like the gossip queen, you can kind of tell. She's a little bit more of the socialite. And as these walking stereotypes approach and kind of take their seats, the first one into the booth is the bulky single guy, the power lifter, and he slides down the booth. And now this is where a very important question is: before we figure out who's sitting where are you guys sitting?
I'll be sitting at one of the ends of the table.
Which
Or
end?
sort of.
Because I'm imagining this is a giant circular booth.
Okay.
So I imagine this is just me. So first and foremost, do I pick out the leader immediately?
Yes.
Okay, which one is that?
The kind of the quiet one with the not the quiet one, but the dude with the pre-workout on his Converse.
Okay, got it. That's who I was hoping for. Now, so the way I imagine it, and gentlemen, please intercede if this is not what you imagine. We're gonna be on one side of this giant booth, and I'm just gonna allow them to like file in. It's this round table and this giant sofa.
Yeah, it's like a half. It's a half circle.
Yeah, so that. How do you feel
or
about
like a
that?
crescent.
I'll be on the exit, pretty much blocking Tony.
Yeah.
So Simon's on the far corner here, right? I'm gonna draw this out, so just so we're clear. So Simon's on the far corner. Colton, where are you?
Good question.
So right now we're looking at this. This would be Simon here on let's just fucking do this because I don't want you guys to see any more of that.
Just
That's fine. That's fine. So Simon's at the crest of the very top of the circle. What about you, Liam? Where do you want to be in this?
kind of makes sense if I'd stand and then wait to sort of sit at the end of the little train once they.
Sure. And then Tony, you're
speed up
taking
themselves.
the middle. I take it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also for effect, let's put a lazy Susan on this table. So I don't want to reach around
Sure.
to pour drinks. Not about that.
Sure.
Some things I stole from Chinatown.
Yeah. Sure. 1 second. One moment. P will be the power lifter. Nice girl is N. G is gossip girl, and let's see here. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna do one of these. The line separating them is the leader. Gossip girl. L is for the lithe dude. Yeah, so that's gonna be, and Colton was wherever. I'm gonna put this in picks for the immersed for on the channel for you guys. I know it's really sloppily drawn, but it's just a quick little frame of reference, just because I know these things can get messy. So that's why I want to make sure that we're clear on who's sitting where. Okay, give me one moment. Okay, picks for the immersed. There you go. All right, now that we got that nightmare figured out really quickly. All right, so Simon, as you and Colton kind of close off, Tony, you're next to the sitting like right kind of the power lifter kind of sits near you. This is a very big booth, so you don't have to be sitting like right next to him, but the one that's closest to you is the power lifter guy. That seems to be how they filed in. And you see they kind of take in their general surroundings.
Actually, do you mind if I make an edit to that note?
Sure.
Okay. So sorry for being this guy.
You're good.
But no, so I'm cool with where they're sitting at, but I'm just imagining us sitting opposite of them. So in the circular booth, like we would take up one half and they would take up the other half. So we're not like closing them off from leaving.
Okay. So
and
you
also
guys...
I could face them directly when I'm speaking to them.
So, okay. Colton, I imagine you stay at the end of your thing. You still caboose it then, Colton?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so this is ignore the scribbles, the T and the S. There's going to be like a little like table between the two of you, between the crescent, and we'll say there's like another like couple of chairs. You ask Giorgio to slide in a couple extra chairs. Hey, you guys laugh, but this is fucking important, okay? Like,
no, I mean I get it. It's just for me, it's like a tism moment.
Okay, I've had too many situations where everyone's pulling guns out or everyone's trying to kill each other, but no one knows where each other is sitting. I'm gonna make sure that people know where the fuck they're sitting, okay? All right, that tangent aside, yeah, yeah, someone clip that. Okay, so if you want to now review that, it should be in picks for the immersed. Excuse me for the scribbles, but that's where we're at. So power lifter, nice girl, leader, gossip girl, and then the lithe guy. And then across the table, there's going to be Tony and Simon, and then Colton at the far end of the crescent. Is that tracks?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Actually, sorry, I don't mean to be this guy. So, one more time. So, I didn't need the chairs, but like, I'm cool if it's just us sitting in that booth. Like, this booth fit 7? I'm thinking Magic City strip club booth.
We're just gonna leave it the way it is. I don't want any more
Okay.
complications here. I
Alright,
swear to God, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
Run it.
So yeah, the powerlifter guy is kind of quietly measuring everyone. The nice girl kind of seems a little nervous, kind of looking around, and you see the leader's like, so oh shit, this is not the good shit. And he reaches for the champagne, and Tony, as he reaches out across the table, you can see his veins. And then your eyes kind of naturally linger to the girl next to him. You can see her neck, her veins, her very pleasant collarbones. You can see the way that makes her carotid artery almost pop out, seemingly mocking you. It's open roleplay now.
So as my eyes are on her, doing my best to stay beautiful, I'm gonna say welcome to my establishment, ladies and gentlemen. What brings you here?
Well, the leader kind of pipes up. We're just looking for a place to kind of kick it. We just got off of well, we're just celebrating, you know, just graduate. Well, at the very least, we passed this year. Finals are all wrapped up more or less for this trimester, and we're just happy about it, you know.
Okay.
Just trying to blow off some steam.
So what are yous to any of yous guys?
Say again.
What are yous to each of yous? What are you guys?
Well, you see, he kind of like looks around nervously. I mean, we're just a bunch of friends. She's my girlfriend. He looks over.
Then I'll pipe in. I guess she's not just a friend then.
You see, like she shoots him a look, kind of annoyed, and she's like, "I'm more than just his girlfriend, thanks."
I laugh a little. I'm like, this fucking guy. You're gonna take that, miss?
Hold on one second. Yeah, we got. You see, as you say, like you're just gonna take that. You see, she like kind of glances over. She's all kind of. There's like kind of a blush to her because of the alcohol, and she seems to kind of like shake her head, and she's like, no, probably not for much longer if he keeps it up.
Oh.
And you see the big powerlifter guy. He's actually the first one to reach over the table. He's like, name's Paul.
And then I'll reach out to shake the hand.
You gotta forgive these fucks. They don't know what the wit's about them. I'm the DD for the night, so I'm the one babysitting.
I can respect that. I can appreciate it. Describe Paul to me.
Paul, he has very short black hair.
Yeah.
Very, very. He looks like he's on a constant state of bulk. He's a big guy. He looks like he only does deadlift, some cleans and squats and bench. Like he looks like he's a big guy. That he trains very specifically for picking heavy things up and putting them back down. And then go.
So then I asked Paul, you know what, Paul, I can appreciate an honest man. If you're ever looking for a job as a bouncer, you can go on ahead and talk to Isaiah at the bar. We could always use more muscle. What do you think?
See, he gives a smile. He's like, oh, I appreciate it, but believe it or not, I'm actually studying law.
I would chuckle. Well, one suggestion: don't stop powerlifting.
Never. And anyway, let me introduce the rest of these fucks. That's Nance over there, the one who's on the verge of breaking up with Lance over there. The other, he gestures towards the other more catty female, and she She says, "My name's Gail," and she goes to sorry, my name's Gail. Kind of like words kind of slurred, and she goes and instead of like shaking your hand, she kind of like reaches over the table and kind of like seems like she's gonna like pat you, but like her fingers kind of like slip past your face. Oh, really quickly, did you blush of life when you shook Paul's hand?
Sure.
Then you gotta make me a rouse check. If you fail it, you're gonna go frenzy.
Can
Just
I
let
go
me know.
say no?
Yeah, that's fine. You see Paul kind of does look at you a little oddly. He's like, but he doesn't say anything yet. And you see Gail, like I said, she kind of like touches your face a little bit, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're so cold. What's wrong with you? You're like fucking room
Actually,
temperature."
And then I'll say,
real quick
well,
storytelling. I'll
Yes.
say later.
I was gonna say,
It's about the whole.
Go ahead, Simon.
Oh, it's about the blush of life thing, but it's mechanical, so I'll wait till later with that.
Because I think if you fail a rouse check when you're at Hunger 5, you frenzy. I'm almost positive.
No, it's not. It's not that. It's like the blush of life thing. It depends on humanity, not when I was reading at least from the book.
Well, I don't think Tony has that high of humanity. I think you have to be humanity. You have to have humanity 8 or above in order for it not to matter. You don't need blush of life to interact with things.
7, but yeah.
Either way. And then that's Leash. Don't worry, it's a inside joke. And then the guy who looks perpetually lost, who seems to be there, who's kind of keeping us all together. That's Lance.
Okay, so we've got you, Paul, Nance, Lance, Leash, and who again?
Gail. That's the chick who looks a little too nice. Believe me, she's not.
Oh, well, we don't know about that. I'd be interested in conversing with this Gail to find out who she is.
And you see Lance kind of pipes up and he's like, sorry, Leash pipes up. Hey, it's my girl you're talking about. And there's a sort of tension in the table as these as this drunk guy is kind of sizing you up. He's the lithe one. He's the one that he looks like he has like a chip on his shoulder, like he has something to prove. He has like longer, shaggier hair that's pulled out in a ponytail behind him that looks very, very disgruntled. He has like pretty long hair though, kind of a almost a mullet going on, but not quite. And Paul's like, "Hey, Leash, chill it. There's no need. We're just getting some free drinks."
Speaking of, Tony, you're the head honcho. I suppose you should signal for him.
Repeat that?
We get some drinks, big fella.
Yeah, so I'll raise my hand up and then have I guess I'll have Giorgio stop by and grab another bottle of champagne to put it back on the ice.
And there's a moment of silence, like as the group kind of talk amongst themselves, mostly about collegiate sports and whatnot. But you see Paul, in particular, is like watching you, Tony, with very critical eyes. That maybe he's a little smarter than he lets on. That he might sense that there's like his spidey senses are tingling, for lack of a better phrase.
On that note, I would say, Paul, you're interested in law enforcement, correct?
I haven't quite decided between that or being a lawyer. Law enforcement seems like the play, though.
I used to work in the field, but
Oh shit! Wait a minute. What's your name, boss man?
they call me preacher now.
Preacher. He's gonna make a roll here really quick. You see that there's almost a moment where there's like a flash of realization in his expression, but he like reins it in and he kind of keeps it to himself, it seems. And he kind of keeps focused on you and Tony. And then his eyes go from you and Tony to Styx. As the other four seem to be like amongst themselves, talking, like whispering to each other, laughing like a bunch of goofballs. Colton, you'd see Paul meets your eyes. It's that point that what about you, big guy? What's your whole thing? You look a little disheveled to be in a place like this.
Oh, they just let anyone in these days.
And then I'll pipe in and
said,
said, and I'll say that my friends, because I own this place, they got special privileges. But otherwise, nah. If they were dressed like this on any other occasion, I'd kick them out.
Well, that's fair. Well, this has been fun and all, but I think we should get going, guys.
Actually, before that, there's some things I'd like to say to Gale and Leash. Leash. Be honest with you, man to man, if you let your woman act out like this in public all the time, she'll just keep walking all over you. I'm being serious here.
You see, like, Gale looks at you like you're a fucking crazy person. Excuse the fuck me?
And then I'm not even looking at Gale, I'm looking at Leash. I'm sizing him up, seeing if he bites.
Yeah. Roll me a... Whew. I will take a manipulation, either subterfuge or intimidation.
Manipulation, intimidation. Ooh.
I will also take etiquette. As you're kind of messing with his personal code of honor, maybe I could see an etiquette role being involved.
I'm gonna go with manipulation, intimidation, but the quiet kind, the best kind.
Okay, the margin you have to beat is 2. Whew. So, being that this is technically social combat, you would sustain 1 point of willpower damage.
Wait, say that again. You cut out before I got.
You would being that this is technically social combat, you would sustain 1 point of willpower damage. And he looks at you and he says, "Bro, I don't need to prove my some tough guy shit in front of you. Come on, man." And Gale kind of looks at you very, like, biting her lip, and she's like, "You're just another fucking chauvinistic pig."
And then I'll smile.
Paul starts to panic. You'd see he's like, "Oh shit." You'd hear him say.
Yeah, and then I'll point to Nance. Nance and Lance. Wow. If I didn't know, there would be a match made in heaven. Do you guys decide on that based on your names?
It rhymes.
Do you say that out loud?
Yeah, and I actually say that.
You see, like, Nance kind of looks like offended, but doesn't say anything. And you see, like, eventually, Lance kind of, or excuse me, yeah. You see Paul's like, okay, that's enough of this. This is kind of, I don't know what this is supposed to be, but this isn't what we signed up for.
And then I'll raise my hand and I'll say, between those two, I was being an asshole, but between Lance and Lance, I'll say that's Lance, if you could find it in your heart, don't be too hard on him. Believe it or not, I was married once.
Yeah, I bet you she left in a fucking heartbeat.
Well, not to make a long story short, she died. We had a kid together.
You'd see Gail, the kind of the gossipy girl. She's what'd you fucking kill her yourself? And I need you to roll me a wits composure, Chief.
Wits composure.
I need you to tell me if oh my god. You feel pretty slighted by this chick. She in her drunk stupor, she seemed to have really stepped on your honor there. And it's at this point that you see Paul getting up. That's enough. Come on, guys. You guys are going home. We're done with this shit. And he takes first he takes Nance by like the scruff of her shirt, and he like starts to get up. What do you do?
I'll chime in. Paul,
What?
as a man going to law enforcement or law, I was making one suggestion to you. Can't save everyone from themselves. You'll get hurt that way.
Yeah. And you see like he starts taking the other drunklings out, and you see Lance, the otherwise leader, kind of like look at you. He's the one that's kind of like built like he's the one with the power lift. He's the one with the the pre-workout on his Converse. He like actually reaches out to grab Tony. I want you to make me an opposing dexterity athletics, or sorry, dexterity athletics if you're to dodge versus his strength brawl.
I can't catch his forearm.
Yeah, you can count that as a strength brawl or a dexterity.
Okay, dexterity brawl, sure. Wow.
Roll high,
Oh
because
my.
he sure as shit did. So he grabs you by your shirt, some buttons popping free of your otherwise well-tended blouse, and he pulls you, and he's like, "Where the fuck do you think you get off, man?"
Do I think I get off? I'm only trying to help you, Lance. I don't know why you're being offended right now.
You can't just invite us in and just fucking insult us like that. The fuck is wrong with you? Is it just because you own some fucking prim and proper club you can just talk down to people like that? I don't know where the fuck you get... Yeah, I don't know where the fuck you get off on.
So the
Wow.
others are out of
Yeah,
the booth by now, right?
They're starting to move, and Paul pauses to like,
yeah,
and you see
I'm
his
going to block his line of sight.
Okay. It's because Paul and Nance are closest to Tony right now.
Ah, okay.
But you could still, I mean, you could get up and physically impose yourself between Paul and Tony.
Yeah, basically, I'm just going to block line of sight and say to Paul, it's time to pay the tab, Paul.
And I said, and then I'll tell Tolton, no, it's on me.
Nah, I really think he should be over at the bar right now.
I was I would step in between Tony and I think his name
Lance.
Lance.
There's
Now, who
Leash. Leash is the guy on the. He's the one that's close to Colton. He's the one who took the insult from Gale. Gale and the gossipy one and Leash.
Lance, the one accosting Tony at the moment.
Say again.
So which one is it, Lance or Leash accosting Tony right now?
Lance.
And I'll step in. Well, I'll put my hand on Lance's chest and say, "It is kind of rude for you to be insulting the proprietor."
And then I'll kind of like, no, Simon, it's all right. Let him talk, and I'll just speak up. You know, Lance, it's very bold of you to come to my establishment dressed the way you are. What is this? Fucking Converses with pre-workout? What the fuck do you think this is? Are you insane? Do you not know what this establishment is? You piece of shit.
Roll me a. Are you trying to again intimidate him?
I think I'm just being honest.
I mean, yeah, but I need some
Alright.
kind of mechanical.
Okay. Yeah, manipulation, intimidation, plus stare down. So that's 6.
Let's see here. 1 second. There we go. So I had to move some tab stuff around. Tony, you feel your rage turn to cold ruthlessness. Nance is closest to you. With your otherwise prey exclusion, she's the one that you need. As Lance looks like he's about to say something, you can feel the adrenaline. You can smell it. And like a shark in like blood in the water, you need her blood right now.
I'm trying to figure this out mechanically. So I'll do a quick look over at Nance, and I'm gonna use Compel, which is free.
Yep.
What's the dice pool for Compel?
You don't. There is no dice pool. You win. They're untrained mortals.
Okay. So I'd say to her 2 words: don't move. And I like my eyes back onto Lance as I'm having this exchange with him.
You cut out, I think.
Okay, so I'll repeat that. So I'll lock eyes onto Nance really quick and say the words, don't move, as Compel is on. And then I'll turn my eyes back onto Lance as we're having this exchange.
Yeah. And he's like, you're not gonna fucking tell her what to do.
Oh, but I just did. But it seems like we still got a problem, so why don't we take this back to the back alley?
Fuck yeah. I'll fight a rich guy. And you see Paul's like, fuck no. We're getting out of here.
That's
Fuck
right,
you
Paul.
and fuck you. And he grabs Nance and he starts dragging like Lance. But then Nance, she like fights him. She kind of like tries shoving him, and she just kind of like locks up and kind of goes deadlock, like limp. Like she's like, no, I need to stay. I need to stay here. I need to stay. She starts screaming. And this is the part where other people in the bar start to notice, like of the screams, the voices, the heightened voices, maybe the tension. You see a couple people leave. The one of the bouncers, Giorgio, he opens up the door. He's like, "Is there a problem here, sir?" And he as he stares down Paul.
Yeah, and I say, yeah, Giorgio, these gentlemen are not being unruly, as well as this lady over there, Gail. Would you mind escorting them out, please?
Yes, sir. And Paul goes to he leaves. He lets go of Nancy, and he's gonna make a roll to throw Lance away from the table, and he's gonna try to square up with this bouncer.
At that point, but I better just attempt to stop him. I see he's about to get ready to move, so I'll just only grab his arm.
You grab Paul's.
Yeah.
All right. It's gonna be a strength brawl versus strength athletics.
All right.
Sorry. It'd be you because you're trying to grab his arm. He's just trying to shove. So it'd be strength athletics versus strength brawl.
Which one am I?
You'd be strength
situation.
brawl.
Okay.
Where did my dice go? It didn't say that I rolled. What the fuck? I guess it did roll. What?
For you?
I
see a 2 here.
Yeah, there's 2. But I'm not seeing I gotta refresh the dice thing on my end because apparently it's not. Yeah, there we go. So there's 2 and then versus 3. So describe to me how you do this as he goes to shove Tony, or he squares up with Tony or the bouncer. How do you grab him?
While he's about to square up the bouncer, I just grab his wrist and say, "No."
Yeah, as you grab his wrists, you feel like he's really strong, but to him, you would be preternaturally strong. It's like fighting against a machine. As he grabs your wrist, you see he looks at you befuddled, confused. There's no way you should be out muscling him right now. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And to that point, Gail is gonna try to scramble out because you locked Nancy down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tony.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Gail's gonna try to egress out as well with leash. Colton, you're closest to them. You can stop them if you want.
I would say, nah. Let him run.
Colton, do you listen to him?
Yeah, I'm gonna whisper over to the bouncer's ear. Walk around, smack all the cell phones out of everyone's hands. If there's anyone filming in the bar,
Giorgio
on TMZ or whatever.
Giorgio does so, and he starts walking, and he starts kicking people out. Actually, he starts telling everyone that the bar is closed. Get out of here. Gail's not moving. Sorry, Nance isn't moving. So
It's Nance, Lance, and Paul right now.
yeah. So Paul he's willing to stand his ground. Gail is gone. She leaves with Leash is hanging out near the door, and he's trying to fight against the bouncer, but the bouncer's kind of forcing him out. At this point, between the 3 of them, Paul is looking at Nance and Lance, and he's you can tell that he's determined not to leave without them.
And I say, Paul, you've got a good heart, but I'm telling you, you gotta leave this one. Besides, Nance has already decided.
And he looks at Nance, and he looks at you. He's like, "I don't know what the fuck you put in her drink, but I'm not allowing this." There's no way. I'm not leaving them
Man.
here. And you see he pulls out his phone and he starts down. No, he's still grappled, actually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I'm holding his arm. Yeah.
He's
Now,
gonna go
I
to
won't mutter. You're a good man.
he's gonna go to headbutt you, and he's gonna say, "I know who you are, Simon Graham," and he goes to headbutt you.
At that point, could I activate what's that thing called? It's in fortitude. Toughness.
That's a
rouse check,
passive
I know.
ability, I think.
Oh yeah. It says it on rouse check.
Oh, in that case, yeah, sure. Go ahead and make me that roll. He's gonna roll to headbutt you.
Okay. This dice, I swear, is glitchy today.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. That's 4 successes for him. Make me
I'll
that
get
rouse
around to rolling.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Oh, is it being
So
dumb?
top today, buddy. Yeah, it's like infinite loading. Please refreshed. Okay, rouse check.
Okay, you passed. You do not gain any more hunger.
All right, now what's the roll? Subtract the 42 from defender from all effing damage. It's just not really telling me what dice to roll.
I think it's just if you take damage,
Okay.
you mitigate it. Fortitude, right?
Yeah.
And you're taking toughness.
Yeah.
So essentially, if you're done damage, basically, your fortitude mitigates that much of it. Essentially, so
Okay.
you've
All
yeah.
right, gotcha.
Does that make sense now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So I'm just eating this, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your fortitude?
It is. I'm at 42, I think 3.
So you would take 1 superficial damage. As he goes to headbutt you, I'm gonna say that your glasses kind of crack, and they kind of break, and they almost fall off your face beneath the impact of this literally almost 300-pound power lifter. As he goes to like headbutt you, how does this look like? Does your head go back at all? Does it look like you take the impact, or are you just a solid statue?
I'll be a solid statue just looking at him, and as he headbutts me, the grass is break. You just see me staring at him. Need the the shroud of the veil of glasses, pretty much.
Yeah, and you see that he.
And I would just say,
Oh God!
Is that all? I would just say, is that all?
What are we doing with the big guy, Simon?
Oh, it's now. I'm actually tempted to fight him.
And I'll say, Simon, he knows your
Yeah,
name.
yeah, but after.
That might be a problem.
This one.
Damn shame. Would have been a good cop.
It's at that point
Good guy.
actually that you hear a door open and you see Hurt walk in, and he's like, you see Paul goes, "Dude, fucking hell!" and he yells out, and you see Hurt looks at the situation. He's like, "Wait, I recognize you," and it's at that point that you see he realizes who Hurt is. He's a captain in the police department. He's training under the police department, and as Paul maybe sees this thing of hope, this person that is probably going to help him out, you see Hurt kind of measures the situation. Captain Hurt goes to the bar, lights a cigarette, and watches. And you see this start to set into Paul, and as this lingering moment of horror and of the situation that he is in, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back shortly. How we doing? Are we out? I'm not sure if we are or not. So, as we left off, we see Paul glancing between Hurt, Simon, and Tony. Now starting to piece things together. And that's when you see the rage begin to boil. And basically we're in combat now.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm feeling alcohol poisoning, right? I've got a nurse to confirm that.
Yeah. Perhaps. Now, Colton, you've been pretty quiet, so I'm going to give you the first go here.
Well, that's
as it
what I was saying
stands,
out loud.
okay, you see Paul, like, now is quiet, kind of realizing that he's in over his head, and that he has to fight his way out of here. Lance, the others, except for Nance, are now escorted out of the bar. Fighting or not, the bouncers have taken care of them. So it's all up to Simon, Tony, and Colton. Now, you could get the bouncers involved, Tony. That's up to you.
Yeah, I think they're busy right now doing crowd control with the crowd right now.
Yeah, they're getting people out of here, essentially. They're kicking out people in the bar. Everyone is basically gone at this point.
Mm. So is it Colton's move right now?
Yep, I'll let the first turn go to Colton.
So yeah, I'll glance around everyone and say, so I'm not a doctor or anything, but I'm feeling alcohol poisoning. I've got a nurse who can confirm that later on. Unless any of you have a different diagnosis.
How about I break you in half? Paul says. Paul, like, yells out.
I would say to Paul, it's like, Paul, I got a chance to walk away from this. You sure you want to stay?
I'm not leaving her behind.
I can respect that.
You're a nice guy, Paul.
Fuck you, pedophile. Yeah, that's right. I know who the fuck you are, Simon Graham. There's not a single cop in the city that doesn't know who the fuck you are. All that trying to frame other people for a human trafficking case. You're the fucking lowest of the low as far as I'm concerned.
I see
Maybe
you
you
like
should turn him, Simon.
the news.
I think that'd be funny.
You see, like, there's like a... He looks a little confused. And Colton, if you don't do anything else, he's gonna take his move. He's gonna see a lull in the action, and he's gonna try to break out of
Well,
Simon.
his arms are pinned, right?
Yeah, he like basically I'm picturing Simon grabbing them like this, kind of like holding them. But he's about to make an attempt to get out.
Well, I'm just gonna break one of his fingers.
Oh. Yeah, he can't really resist you.
Yeah.
So you see, like, which finger do you break?
The middle one.
As you pry it free, I'm taking it. You just snap it straight back.
Yeah.
You see, and he just like he's fighting you, and he has a pretty good grasp, but like one digit is not enough from a mortal to sustain against vampiric strength. And with a sound that resembles the biting of a carrot, a little pop and a crack, finger is definitely dislodged. Is there anything else you do, Colton?
So, Paul, what else do you know about Simon?
Fuck you!
You have the floor.
And he's gonna try to get out. He's gonna try to fight his way out of here. Simon, I need you to roll me a strength athletics versus his. Whoo, goddamn, roll high.
Yeah, my luck probably not, but we shall see.
Okay, so essentially how this looks is as you break his finger and you say, what else do you know about this about Simon? And you say he says, fuck you, and he goes and he like kind of like quickly like bends his wrist inwards and kind of rolls them around, kind of like getting like getting back control of his wrist kind of, and he kind of lunges off to Simon's left, and he kind of stumbles and he goes to grab Nancy's ankle because she's kind of like ragdolled, and he's gonna try to pick her up and leave. Tony, is your turn.
Okay, so is he on the ground or is he? What's going on?
He's gotten up to his feet at this point because he's gonna. That was basically his action, for lack of a D&D knowledge. He like goes to pick up Nancy. That was basically his turn. That was his three things that he's doing. Breaks away, falls over, stands up, like dives out of the way, stands up, picks up Nance, and that's what he's about to do. He's about to leave.
Okay, so I'm gonna do something risky just because I'm in the mood. I'm gonna rouse the blood, so that's gonna be one hunger dice, right?
Yep.
Lovely.
You frenzy.
Okay.
What are you trying to do?
Arms of Ahriman, wrap a coil around his leg, hold him in place.
Okay. Sure. Let's see here. What is that dice pool?
That's gonna be a. Let's see if I remember.
What does he have to roll against?
He has to
look it
roll
up too.
against. He has to roll Resolve Composure
Okay.
against my wits oblivion. So I'll make that roll.
Yep. He's rolled 3 successes.
Should we clear that real quick? Try it again.
Okay. You were able to restrain him entirely. But you're now. I want you to describe what this hunger frenzy looks like.
So, at this point in time, I want to say that this bar is cleared out, minus ourselves, Hurt, maybe even Isaiah is in his own private, like not panic room per se, but like his own space.
Yeah.
But my demeanor just changes. I'm no longer fucking beautiful, and I'm hungry. And where's Nance right now?
She's a fireman carried over Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Paul's
Paul.
shoulder.
Okay.
Shoulders.
So it's like fireman's carry or like a sack of potato? Which one?
Sack of potatoes, excuse me. Not a
Sack of
fireman's
potatoes.
carry.
So like her head is behind him.
Yeah.
So while he's frozen in place, he's not able to move. Like I have him completely restrained.
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk around him, almost ethereally, almost like a fucking ghost.
As you see, he's trying to. You see, every muscle in his body is flexing as he's trying to fight for his friend.
So as she is dangling, draped over his shoulder, her hair dangling down, her neck, the back of her neck exposed, I politely but crassly say, "Forgive me, miss, for this is not." No, let me try it again. "Don't mind me, miss, but this is something I don't usually do." And then I'll go in and feed.
Okay. How much do you want to pull from her?
How much can I take without killing her?
Well, she's gonna need hospitalization for anything over 3, but you're gonna have to roll me a wits, composure resolve, or sorry, a solid willpower roll to see if you don't drain her dry immediately. And
So, like, my remaining willpower?
yeah,
Okay,
your unspent willpower.
Got it. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay. Okay. So you pull 1 from her. You see Tony's like, "What are you doing? Let her go!" And he's just like screaming. It's 1, 2, 3. And for 3 turns, you pull from her. Actually, really quickly, he has a couple of turns to try to fight free. What does he have to roll again?
He has to roll a... Let me look it up. It says... Resolve Composure.
Okay. I rolled 4 dice for him. And he has to beat your 5. Your 5.
That 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah.
Or do you have to re-roll every turn? I don't think that's how that works. I think it's...
No. It stays. Arms are arm on stays.
Well, the second attempt he fails. Another hunger is pulled from her. Does anyone else do anything? Simon, it's technically your turn.
I would probably feed on Big Man.
You're gonna feed on him. He is restrained. So yeah, definitely go for it. How do you feed on him?
He's restrained, so he's probably, then I would just approach and just, he comes out and just go for his neck.
Okay. What is you're at hunger 4, right?
Yep.
I need you to also roll me your unspent willpower.
Unspent willpower. Let's see. Oh yeah, new night. So I didn't. Okay.
Nope. It's a new night since the night prior.
Yeah, I haven't.
I
haven't spent it. So
oh, yep.
So what was that?
Yep, you're good.
So just a straight roll of 5.
Willpower. Yep.
Is that normal or hunger? Okay, is it
That's
normal
with
dice
hunger.
or hunger dice?
That's with hunger dice.
Okay, that works. I love how I get the weirdest rolls.
The 2 successes are still enough. But I'm gonna say you pull, like, he's gonna make one more attempt to break out. So that's your first pull from him. So Colton, what are you doing?
It sort of rubs me the wrong way to see something so strong not be able to do anything. So I'm just gonna... I still have that knife from that one fight with Batman, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna slice the back of his knees until he falls.
Paul's?
Yeah.
Yeah, as you do, roll me a dexterity melee. He can't really contest against you. This is just more of like how accurate you are. God damn. Yeah, it's a mess. It's messy work. As you cut into the back of his legs, again, like his screams turn more into whimpers. As you see, like he's kind of like facing a cortisol dump at this point, of like trying to figure out like fight or flight, as he's just kind of watching this happen. Like he's kind of seeing how his friend's getting fed on. Some freak is now biting his neck. He's kind of measuring his options, and he kind of falls limp but still coiled up in the arms of Armand. You see, like, sweat is just beating on his forehead. And Simon, his blood reeks of adrenaline. It is the element of fire. It is the element of a raging inferno. He wants to do anything to get free and rip you in half. Or put his fist through your whole fucking skull. You can feel the contempt, the rage, everything kind of burbling forth. Now, Tony, as you pull from Nancy, you feel like she's kind of disassociated from the whole thing. There's a sort of apathetic sensation. She almost kind of, due to your command earlier, she kind of realized that there's no point in fighting. Like I said, it's very almost water. You feel the sense of. It almost reminds you of a sip of coffee at a stream, something like that. You can smell that almost the depression, the surrender to the whole totality of the circumstances. He's gonna make one more roll to get out. Come on, Paul, you can do it, buddy. Nope. No dice, literally. So you guys all take more hunger from them. Let's see here. You guys are both at hunger 2 at this point. Do you pull more? Or you guys pull two hunger. Now remember, you're gonna have to, if you want to spare them, you have to definitely hospitalize them after this. But they've seen too much at this point. Okay, he's gonna make one more roll. I take it that you guys both just pull one more from him.
Yeah, no, I'd say
both take 3.
If anything, I would say. I mean, like, where's Lance in all of this?
Lance is escorted out by the bouncers.
Okay.
He was forced out. He was
okay.
too drunk, and he wasn't able to like really figure out what was all going on and sense the warning signs beforehand. So he's been escorted out.
And then I would say to Paul, really quick in between this, as I've already taken my 3, and looking at the circumstances of how far we've already come into this situation, how I've got these coils wrapped around Paul, the back of his knees are cut. Nance is in this delusion, and as I've taken her blood, she's already aware of the situation.
Yeah, she's passed out at this point.
Yeah.
And
So
Paul's on the
that's
verge of losing consciousness.
So then I would say to Paul, this is nothing. This ain't personal. You're just in the unfortunate circumstance of knowing just a little too much. Simon, he can't live.
I would sigh and say, I hate this.
Yeah, so do I. And then I would continue feeding on Nance until, like, that's it.
Until she's dead?
Until she's dead.
Okay. We'll get into that in a second. Simon. Oh, sorry, Colton, go.
If you're not going to turn him, I think I might want him.
And then I'll look over at Colton and I'll raise my eyebrow and look at Paul, like, you sure?
I've been dangling a carrot in front of some thin bloods for a while, and I think this would be the perfect way to break their spirit completely.
God damn.
And then I would say, shit, I'm not I'm not that evil.
Give it
Do I
time.
even want to know what you mean?
Give it time.
Do I ever want to know what you mean, Sticks?
Well, if this guy's knight is anything to go by, knowledge isn't power. So.
What are you talking about? I'm gonna crush you. I'm gonna kill you all.
Strength
If you're
saved you
gonna
tonight.
kill me, you better fucking do it. Because if you don't, I'm never gonna stop. And he's looking at Tony. The best he can, anyway.
So we're kind of outside of the private booth, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start dragging Paul by his hair towards the private booth to turn him.
Do you, you have to talk to Tony about that. He's still restrained by Arms of Armand.
Well, once it gets to the point where his legs are getting tugged, I'm gonna shoot a glance over at Tony.
Oh yeah, his legs gave out a while ago. He's been hanging limply, restrained by Arms of Armand.
So then I'll shrug my shoulders and then I'll release the arms.
Yeah. For flavor, I'd like to say the look I was giving you, Tony, is a bit like we're two hyenas pulling at the same leg.
Now I'll just nod. The arms disappear.
And I'm gonna roll him one last roll. See if he's able to remain conscious. To get one last good attempt to get one hit in. Okay, he's able to find the will to and this dude who's probably one of the toughest kids you know at this point. He tries to lunge at Tony. As soon as the arms, like, he's going to take a huge disadvantage, a huge penalty, but he's going to try anything to get at Tony at this point. So he's going to lunge. Colton, do you want to try to stop him?
I would like to stop him, actually.
Okay, so it's going to be athletics versus. How are you going to stop him? Are you just going to physically impose yourself? Are you going to grab him, or are you going to punch him? Or feral weapons? What are you going to do?
I'm just gonna punch him. And the way he's looking right now, it might not be pretty.
Yeah. He's gonna roll one last lunge at
Strength brawl.
Yeah, he's basically gonna strength brawl.
All right. How lamentable.
Oh man.
I really don't want to roll this, but here we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I missed the dice actually, but go ahead.
It's fine. You are able to punch him. Not like you're not sure if he's dead or if he's unconscious, but basically he lunges, and you see like somehow he was able to get his hands on a knife. As he lunges towards Tony, knife in hand. Simon, you punch him and you see he tumbles, destroying a booth because he's a big fucking guy, basically lunging at Tony with a knife. And as he tumbles over, as this big punch careens with the side of his head, he tumbles down, and you see like he doesn't seem to be moving. So Colton, you have seconds to turn him.
Well, I would have liked some privacy, but...
Bolton, let him die.
I'll start the process.
Okay. You so it is, to my knowledge, you have to insanguinate him first. So as you're describe to me what this looks like from these alien jaws as they unhinge and kind of like move around his neck.
For a moment, my eyes will have a bit of a glow like lamplight. And basically, whatever wounds he has, I'm just going to make worse.
Mm-hmm. As you do, you feel his soul, the last of him, move into you. It's almost an overwhelming sense of rage, of terror, desperation. You feel his essence. There's something intimate about a siring. And as you pull from him, there's a moment where you feel you feel his everything. You feel flashes of his memories of a alcoholic father, beat him almost to death more than once. The years of wrestling, grappling, doing his best to never be that scared kid ever again. You feel his insecurities. Oh, he doesn't like the way he looks. You can feel his awkwardness. You can feel that he always did love Nancy, but he respected his friend too much. These are all the things that are flashing through his head as he dies. Now it's your choice to give one hunger or 1.1 blood point to him to re-insanguinate him.
Do I, logistically, would I lose one hunger first from what I took? Actually, no, I need to eat for that. Never mind.
So you just, you hypothetically, mechanically, Hakata work a little differently. Or Nagaraja work a little differently, but I think their siring process could be similar enough. I think you still have the ability to pull blood from them. I just don't think it sates any of your hunger. So you would pull blood. I mean, maybe even devour part of him. Maybe you devour his heart even. And
no, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I eat all the organs and then turn them.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's the same.
Yeah. So I just have to lose one. Well, I'm at hunger 4 now.
Yep. And you see he's quiet. As you see, he becomes more and more pale. Tony, you feed off of all of Nancy, right?
Actually, before that even, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, feed off of all of Nancy. But like at this point, like, cause I'm sure like he's Paul's already dropped her.
Yeah.
Or put her aside. So I think to be cinematic, I would carry her, like bridal carry her into the office, and I imagine Isaiah's in there.
Yeah.
So I'll tell him. So with my one hand, so I'll place Nance on the couch. I'll reach into my coat pocket, probably a wad of like 5,000 in cash, and I'd say, when things settle down, drinks are free tonight. Give him a PR speech. Let him know that this is par for the course for speakeasy culture. Remind the people to respect the rules, respect the patrons, respect the bouncers.
Say that again. Sorry.
So then, what I said was, I'll take out this wad, like 5,000 in
Yeah.
cash, and politely put it onto the desk where Isaiah is sitting.
Yeah.
And then I would say, let the people know outside that the drinks are free tonight. Let them know that sometimes these things happen in the speakeasy, and that if they want to stick around, they ought to respect the rules, respect the culture, respect the bouncers. And one thing that I would say to Isaiah, just personally, and sorry I brought this upon you, Isaiah.
You do you want me to let people back in?
Give me like give me like an hour. Yeah, hang around.
All right.
But
yeah, you got it, boss.
Yeah. Might give me some privacy with this one.
Yeah. He gets up and leaves.
It wasn't supposed to happen like this, young lady. It was supposed to be simple. But you and your friend are are the consequences of my poor decisions. Sorry, but I gotta do this. So I feed off of the rest of her and slake my 2 hunger.
You feel something delicate, something fragile as you pull more and more from her. There's a calmness, accepting her, what's happening. But you feel a sort of regret. Something she hasn't told someone. So many things she would have liked to have said, but never got the chance to. And with that, like the last drop of a fountain, everything is still. She is gone. And you feel her essence become a part of you. She is gone. Unless you re-insanguinate her, there's no going back.
The temptation occurs to me, but then I fight it. Instead, I go to the closet and I reach for 2 bags. They're body bags. Habits of Tony's. I'll put her in this one. I'll put her on the floor and I'll put her in the body bag, zip it up. And then I'll walk outside to where Colton is. I'll say, Colton, and I toss him the bag. It's folded up.
On that note, really quickly as you toss the bag, for context, everyone who was a part of this affair takes a stain to their humanity. That means Simon and Tony.
Not Colton?
Colton, he gets 2 stains.
Jeez.
With the brutality and the darkness of this macabre scene, honestly, I think both of you deserve more humanity taken. But I think it stands here. Now, as the body bags are tossed, our perspective lingers outside. A man amongst the crowd. A small crowd that's gathered as the bouncers begin to disperse people and say that the club is closed. From across the street is a figure who watches. Only you can see part of his head. And you see as he turns and reveals a profile, you see a spiraling black tattoo. A long leather coat. As he watches, almost entertained. His light blonde hair, kind of almost reflecting off of the amber street lights, as he holds with him a guitar case that he proceeds to set down. And it's there that we switch perspectives once more to Crimson, Hugh, and Anar. Actually, we're going to go to Anar's perspective. You obfuscated in your office, correct?
He's back just at the table where he did the fortune.
Oh,
So he's on the main
yes.
floor, just kind of like watching the door. Well,
Okay.
watching. Senses focused on the door.
Senses focused on the door. I imagine that you're trying to listen. You're not moving. You're just trying to figure out where everything is and trying to listen for any aberrant noise or sensory. You hear the door creak open, and you feel your stomach kind of drop because you know how vulnerable you are. You know that someone was out there. You can hear 2 pairs of footsteps approaching the door, and then the door suddenly open. Crimson and Hugh, what do you say as you enter the parlor? Crimson and Hugh, what do you say as you enter the parlor?
Sorry. Thinking.
I was about to say, I told her I was going to kill Simon in the last scene.
Yeah, and that he was leaving. She'd there's a bell on the door, right? Or is there a bell that she dings? What is it?
Yeah, imagine that you don't.
So as you would open the door, there's the ding.
Oh,
of
okay,
a bell.
okay. Yeah. Almost in a whisper, seeing how quiet it is, she'd be like, "Anar."
Crimson, is it you? Like in a whisper.
Yeah, it's me. I brought Hugh. Still whispering.
And so, I'd drop Cloak of Shadows so I'd appear sitting at the
Jesus
table.
Christ! For a blind man, you can sure sneak up on people. God.
I'm gonna start laughing. I love that trick.
Are you alright? What you said someone was watching you?
Yes. I can't remember from Scry the Soul, as I was standing outside, would I be able to have discerned a direction? Or is it just a presence that I felt?
It's just a presence.
There was someone. Honestly, I tried to call anyone, and I'm a little worried that it was you. The woman who came, I'm almost certain she was a ghoul. But there's something else. There was Diablerie was in the air. I don't know where it's from, but there's much to tell you.
Now, putting a pause in this really quickly, Crimson and Hugh, you were instructed to retconning a little bit, or back in time perspective for a moment. You two were told to go in and ensure Anar's safety, and that Tim was going to go ahead and case the exterior and check to see who may be watching.
I have my guy on the lookout outside right now. So if they're close, he might find them.
I'm worried they came to find you in some way. There was too many similarities between this woman, this Holly, the ghoul, and you. I saw things. I almost saw you through her. It may have been a mistake to have you come here.
Roll me a wits awareness. Crimson and Hugh. Anar, you don't have to. I need you to roll me a composure resolve.
Okay.
Okay. So you don't lose your goddamn mind. So Crimson and Hugh. Well, I'll get to you two in a moment. Anar, you would hear whispers. Or maybe it's exactly what was required. Maybe fate pulls these strings as another spider weaves her web, and as one the one who devours, the one who has lost himself, and his child sing. It's at that point, and you would hear a series of gunshots, Crimson, and so would you, Hugh. You'd hear a series of almost 20, like it'd be a series of gunfire.
Can we tell how many shots, or is it just like
Nope.
random spatter?
It sounds like about 20 shots.
Honor, please tell me you have a back door out of this place.
There is. And like
I
the
can't
arm would
just leave
motion
Tim.
straight back.
Tim would literally want you to go.
I know he would.
It's at that point that you would probably hear another flurry of gunshots. This one about 5.
Crimson, you have to make a choice.
I would like to activate Fleetness.
Okay. Where are you going with it?
I just want to scout the outside
Okay.
as quick as possible. And if shit goes down, I can get away as quick as possible.
Sure. Let me look at Fleetness. Make me a rouse check.
Yes. And what is that again? Just a hunger die?
Yep. You should know this by now. Come on.
I should. I don't make them.
You gain hunger.
Okay, that's fine. Now at hunger 3.
Okay. Yeah, so you're just gonna try to check the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Roll me a dexterity athletics, add your celerity to the roll.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to burn any willpower for those 2 normal dice?
No.
Okay. All right, so as you kind of describe what this looks like as you have this burst of speed, I want to give it the onus to you to describe what your powers and what your character's actions are.
Kind of like in a flurry, like no one else can really see it. You just hear the door jingle as she goes through it, and it would kind of just, I can imagine it like there were like newspapers or like trash on the ground, and she'd zip by it, just fly up into the air, still not really being able to see her, but every so often she'd stop and like take a look around, and the second she doesn't see any sign of Tim, she'd keep going.
Yeah, it's
she probably wrapped the building like once.
As fleetness isn't necessarily blink. Blink is where one would teleport, essentially. But fleetness still gives dizzying power of speed. Now as you basically break into a dead sprint, you would see what seems to be Tim kicking out an expended magazine, and as he goes to, and you see he's facing down an individual that seems to be on the verge of fleeing. You see he pulls out a knife, throws it, bedding this knife into this vampire's back. What you can assume to be a vampire, because you could see, taking your wits awareness from earlier, I'm not going to make you re-roll because it is still part of the scene. Just for simplicity's sake. You would see a dude like with a lot of bullet holes, blood, and he's still moving, still fighting, or at the very least still maneuvering on Tim. You see he pulls a knife out and throws it. Bedding the knife somewhere in his chest, you see that this, what you can assume kindred, looks at you, Crimson, and smiles.
Just giving him kind of like a disgusted look. Can she see that Tim is okay?
As you glance at him, you see he's taken a little bit of damage, but he's still alive. Definitely, he's been shot a couple of times. For a ghoul, he's probably fine, but it's not looking great.
And this vampire he shot at is on the ground at this point?
No, not at the ground. He's kind of like a ways away, probably about 10, 15 yards away from Tim, about 20 yards away from you.
Whipping out the Desert Eagle and shooting at him.
Okay. Do you have rapid reflexes?
I do not.
Okay, so that's going to cost you part of your turn to draw. You can do essentially two. I kind of run it so you can do like 3 things a turn. So you go to fire. I take it with both of those remaining turns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dexterity, firearms. Oh,
I did not mean. Oh, that was you, not me. Okay, I was freaking out for nothing.
Yeah, that's good. So, the way I'm imagining this is, in a flurry of gunfire, it's chaos, right? You see, the guy pulls what seems to be a 357 Magnum out on you, or some kind of revolver, gets a couple of shots off. You guys exchange gunfire for a little bit. Crimson, the recoil of this Desert Eagle is almost too much to handle. The recoil is a lot, but luckily you are a vampire, you are a kindred, so you can handle the kind of the recoil of the pistol significantly better than a normal human could. That being said, it's still going to be a pretty big round. It's a 50 AE. So as this series of gunfire is happening, you see that the kindred seems to take a couple of shots and walking away. And it's at that point that he grazes you, and you take. Yeah, you definitely hit him, but he hits you for sure. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd probably take. Let's see here. I'll mitigate the dice pool based on here. So 2, 4, 2, 4. So you'd take 4 points of superficial damage in the exchange of gunfire, because I'm imagining you're suppressing him. He's maneuvering, shooting at you, and it's in that bit of the gunfire you get grazed a little bit. It's at that point that you see, with a smile, he disappears. And you see Tim is looking at you. What the fuck are you doing? He goes to continue to reload. He slams another magazine in his Beretta, 92 FS Custom, and he looks at you. He's like, "Get in the fucking car now!"
I'd listen to him. I'd go in the car.
In the meantime, Hugh and Anar, as you hear more gunfire outside, definitely some of that gunfire is significantly different than the gunfire that you heard previously. It's a lot louder. What do you do?
Anar, as much fun as invisible poker between 2 old dudes would be fun, especially with one of us being blind, I think we should go to the car.
Yes. And like
So I'm
the
gonna-
arm will just come up, you know.
I'll immediately grab him by the arm and just start dragging him. Let's go.
Yep. And as you're dragging me, like I would be saying, like, just put me in contact with the car and help them. I was not what they came for.
That's why I told Crimson to run. We're just hurrying to the car at this point, I guess.
It's at that point, Crimson, do you break contact?
Yeah, I'd book it.
And it's there as everyone piles into the car that will end our session of Vampire the Masquerade. For now. Really quickly, before we get into debriefs, because that was a whole lot. A buddy of mine is going through a lot. He's the guy who's been donating so much to the Twitch channel. His kid is really not looking good. There's a lot of complications. Just shout out to him. He's always been a great supporter of me. He's always had my back. Great guy. I'm not sure if you want me to say your name or if you want us to remain anonymous. But goddamn,
His name's
dude.
Tim.
Yeah, his name can be Tim, but dude's a unit. He's going through a lot. If you guys want to keep him in your hopes, and if you believe in that kind of thing, prayers, give him the best vibes possible. He's having a rough time. So thank you so much for being such an amazing supporter of the channel. Dude, you're awesome. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. You're a cool dude, man, and I hope you know that that I'll support you in whatever way. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, this is the site for Caden. I guess it's now you can. Yeah. He's a good work buddy of mine. This is kind of what's going on. It's pretty rough. Thank you, Andy. Since I imagine that you're sharing that, I imagine that you're okay with me sharing your name. Andy, you're a fucking unit. Dude, keep your head up. I know things are really hard right now. Like, please stay safe. Keep your head up. And you have my... I haven't really known what to say. I've been thinking about commenting and giving you guys my hopes, but I hope this mitigates that because, man, I love you, dude. You're a good guy, and your family doesn't deserve this. Love you, dude. Anyway, yeah, so many hearts back. But on that note, as we close our session for now, we'll do a quick little feelings about the session really quickly. If any of you guys want to give us your pros, some things that we did right, some things that maybe we could work on, but if you do give us some criticism, make sure that you let us know a way to improve. Maybe what some of your favorite moments are, and then what you're most looking forward to in the chat. That would be awesome. And if not, and if you haven't, you're just tuning in and you haven't seen all of the episode yet, go back, watch it. When it shows up on YouTube, put it there. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for that. Do the social media, like, share, subscribe, whatever bullshit. Do the bell thingy. Any bit of support helps. You guys are awesome. And again, if you want to help out Andy and Caden, check out that site. If anyone wants to throw him a bone, because his family's been going through it, go through it. Go do that now. Anyway, so yeah, we'll do some go around the digital table and see what your guys' feelings are, like little quick debriefs, and then we'll sign off of here and do our ending credit spiel. Anyone want to go first?
Thought it was a pretty good session. Feel like everybody got their own little moments. Well, it's fun. I don't know. I really liked the session. I feel like the descriptions were really on point tonight too. So good job on those.
Thank you.
And then as far as criticisms, I don't know. I feel like just who we are, this ain't gonna change, but we could all be prepared, I guess, instead of like at the last minute being like, oh shit, this is right. And that's my own personal criticisms, not necessarily directed towards anybody, but like, yeah.
That's okay. All right. Anyone else want to go?
Oh, about this metaphorical table. Where's everyone positioned at?
Oh my god.
I lose my goddamn mind.
Dibs on being on the outside.
It's a round table. Everybody's on the outside, Crimson.
All right, Simon, what do you got?
Teasing aside, I think things got this visceral pretty quickly today. But
Yeah.
it got it was very entertaining too. You know, yeah, pretty good descriptions. But yeah, enjoyed it.
Fuck yeah. Anyone else want to go next?
I would say that, yeah, I really like the session. However, it's like, I like Paul. We like Paul, people. Paul's a good dude. You know, and if Lance hadn't reached over and grabbed my shirt and popped a couple buttons, I would have let them walk. I would have cut my losses and just continued fishing in the bar and would have had a peaceful night. But no, Lance had to be on his meathead shit, on his roid rage, and I'm like, okay, now we got problems. But
It's the most vampire shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, hey, you know, he was attacking me. If he wouldn't have been defending himself from this actual monster, I wouldn't have had to drain him dry.
yeah,
It's the most vampire shit I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
That's
I swear to God.
that's perfect for Tony, who's sliding right now though, because he just lost his touchstone.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's
perfect.
really good.
Yeah,
love that.
it's yeah.
yeah, down the rabbit hole we go. But no, it's like, I think it's because like the idea floated of ghouling this young lady, but it's like I already know my sentiment about bringing more kindred into this world, and the answer is no. It's always been no. You know, I'm already, for the longest time I've had this. I mean, I'm not going to reveal to the crowd, but yeah, I have this thing about Tony. Like, I've had it in my head. And it's like, okay, got it. And you know, just wondering, what I'm looking forward to is this conversation with Hurt, and just seeing how that goes. But also, no, like, credit to you. Thank you for entertaining me on describing this table, for putting up with me, really, honestly. But no, we were able to get it solved, and I'm glad we were able to do that. Notes for myself: next time I should have a sketch pad, be like, hey, I want it to look like this. This please, this, and then help you out in that, so we can cut time on that. But no, I like the session. I felt heated when I was talking to Lance, which is how it should have been. And yeah, I felt evil when I was in that scene, which is how I really should be. So yeah, thank you. Had fun.
Yeah. No, yeah. Who hasn't gone yet? Because I'm a silly goober who... I know Hugh hasn't gone, Colton hasn't gone, and Anar hasn't gone, right?
He did go.
I did go.
Actually.
Oh, Hugh did go. Excuse me.
I was the first person.
Oh God, I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Yeah, I can go real quick.
Sure.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the scene with Tony and Colton and Simon. I was kind of sitting there, like, guessing, like, how's this gonna go? And it escalated pretty quickly. And I agree, like, the slide that Tony's on is gonna be interesting to watch for sure. I enjoyed the exchanges at the parlor too, and that got heated very fast. So yeah, I'm looking forward to also seeing, like, with Colton turning one of these people, and like what's the deal with that?
That's not gonna have any consequences at all.
Yeah, and then we have the mysterious stranger, the guy with the guitar case, because that was outside of Tony's establishment. Yep. So we got that mysterious stranger, and then we've got someone that's shooting at us, and so it's just like, what's going on? So I'm looking forward to seeing all that. So.
All right. I think Crimson, you haven't gone.
Nope, I have not gone. I'll go. Yeah, I guess like everybody else, the show-stopping scene was that entire thing with Tony, Simon, and Colton. Like, holy crap! I did not expect. I mean, I don't know why. I should expect crazy shit from Styx by now, but like, for him to sire that dude, I did not expect that. And props to you, Tony, because I was like genuinely disgusted with him. I was like, this fucking disgusting monster. Like, you really, really well done. Props to you.
Facts.
And you, storyteller, you're acting as, what was his name, Lance?
Lance
Paul.
and
Paul. It's always Jesus Christ, the names. But
Yeah.
Paul, yeah, it was really, really good. Like, you could tell he's a good guy.
Yeah,
Really,
I
really
like
a shame.
I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah,
I mean, he'll be back, kinda.
Mm,
he'll
Not
be
gonna be
back,
the
but he
same.
will be forever changed.
Yeah.
yeah.
On that note, Colton, how you feeling, buddy? You got yourself a little fledgling. I mean, not so little, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I love me some pets. Cons, man. Not really any cons, but I will say that I felt uncomfortable around Tony, but that was a good thing. That's like the acting.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I have a thing in my notes where it's just downward spiral is written in my notes, and seeing Tony embrace that is great.
Yeah.
So happy with Tony.
Yeah.
Pros, Paul. Favorite moment, anything with Paul.
Well, apparently he's gonna be a new big character. Apparently, I think he might be a new fan favorite. Make memes about Paul.
Yeah.
It was a killed in
Yeah.
my opinion.
You're right. You probably should have. It would have been probably the ethical thing to do. Then again, he's now not even just a normal kindred. He's a fucking Nagaraja.
Yeah, I was
can still
looking up to see that actually, like if it how this Hakata thing works, because there's so many
It's like 4 or
bloodlines
5.
and clans. It's so weird.
To my
No.
knowledge, he would be a Nagaraja.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was just going to be a Hakata, and that if I needed to do a special like ritual to make him Nagaraja, but no, I think it's just he was not Nagaraja.
I'll do a little bit of homework on it too. But I think I think that because the clans were separate and that they only have the blanket term Hakata because of some like alliance between all of them, I think that their individuality stands true, if I remember correctly.
I think that's the way it is. Yeah, good stuff. Wish there was a bit more to the Anahu Crimson side of things, but we were a little busy with combat, so.
Yeah. It's about time you guys got a little bit more of the spotlight. On that note, I love playing Paul. Paul's my new favorite DMPC, for lack of a better phrase.
Maybe I should kill him next session.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to. Like honestly, technically it's against the traditions, and Colton's kind of going off on his own fucking program. He's gonna have to justify this to the Camarilla. It'll be a big problem.
Ethics in Vampire. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Besides, traditions are a suggestion, not a rule. You showed us that many times this session, this game.
On that note, my favorite moment, if I'm being 100% honest, my favorite moment was seeing that my boy Andy was able to catch the tail end of the show and being able to shout out his son. That was probably my favorite moment. Not to get all cheesy on you guys, but that was really cool. That despite it all, he still helps the channel out. And the guy's a Giga Chad. Love that guy. I'll talk to Rachel. This wasn't planned, but like if we could put that link to that Caring Bridge site to YouTube. This is not planned. If we could do that, that would be cool. When this goes to YouTube, sweet. Just yep, I'll do that I'll do that right now. But mechanically, my favorite moment, man, I also felt uncomfortable in all the great ways about Tony and Paul. That whole situation was very, very nefarious. I knew from the get-go of the scenario that there's no way it was going to go well. But that was fun. I liked pushing Tony. I literally have it in my notes today to push Tony to the brink. Yeah, man, there it was. But on that note, I won't take up any more of your time. Rachel, if you could be so kind to roll the music credits. And then if there was anything that you, any of our art that you liked, all of it was done by Credit.S1. She is fucking awesome. Check her out. As well as we have a donate button. Check us out on YouTube. Definitely, we're trying to build up our YouTube presence. So if you want to do that, we are 3 away from me getting fake tits on stream and wearing them, and it being really weird. So that'll be something to look forward to. And there's more to come. Hunter Game's still in the works. We're still ironing out some kinks with that, and that'll be really fun too. That'll be late night Wednesdays, and I think that's everything. I think I cover all of our bases. And on that note, everyone have a fantastic evening. We'll see you on the next one. Good night.